From punk rock to choppers and everything between, we talked to Tyler from Pocket Lint Motorwerks, also known as Honda Wizard. You are listening to Do You Even Chopper? Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too, Tim. Thank you very much.
Take the mic like a hardcore kid. Usually we always kind of start these with a pretty simple question. Why do you even chopper?
Why do I even chopper? I'd say at this point in my life, it's mostly out of necessity. A person could probably spend way too much money and way too much time, especially in my field of vintage Japanese bikes. I mean, you could beat your head against the wall and try and get all the stock parts and original parts, but at this point in the game, it's getting harder and harder to find things. So you have to kind of make things.
That kind of brings me to the thought. I know talking to you before, you talked about necessity, kind of developing the skill set out of just kind of working from your starting point up. So maybe let people know how you started with motorcycles and how that kind of evolved through Hondas.
Sure. I mean, I didn't grow up with motorcycles. I didn't have like a dad who was a biker or an uncle or neighbor or anything. And so my idea of motorcycles came from like Terminator 2 or Raising Arizona. And just that's all I saw. And, you know, like growing up, you kind of feel as a kid that everything is defined very definitively by lines. And skipping ahead, going through like punk rock and then rockabilly and stuff, I was into like cars and hot rods, but didn't have the means to really do that myself. And then I met my friend Ian, who started Ace of Spades in Centralia with his partner at the time. And I was in a rockabilly band with him. And that was like my first exposure to seeing how different subcultures could be into motorcycles and into choppers.
I mean, I think that's a common through line is with a lot of people that we interview on Do You Even Chopper, or even The Ton, is kind of discovering punk rock, discovering subculture, and then kind of into it. So, but what I think is interesting is you're from a smaller town than a lot of people we talk to. So what was like the discovery of punk rock like for you, and how did that kind of come about, and what was it like in a small town discovering that compared to, you know, not that I'm from a big town or anything like that, but it is the bigger town in this region comparatively.
It was like a lightning bolt. I mean, you grow up hearing music and then you hear it differently, finally. And then you get to be able to make it yourself. Like, and just with music alone, it's so life-changing, so transformative. And in a small town, it's easy to take it for granted. You take a lot of things for granted. You think, oh, there's tons of people around that are like me, maybe. You got a scene going or something. But with some retrospective on it, you can't take stuff like that for granted. You have to, if there's a community, you have to be involved in it. And you have, if there's people who are into your same stuff that you're into, you can't gatekeep that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like a scalable issue too, right? So in my town, which is just 30 miles away, there's probably, during the in quote coolest years, maybe like 40, 50 people who are like diehard punk, doing shows, going every weekend. And then there'd be more people when a big band would come in, or if a local band got bigger, you get shows where there might be 200 people. But like, we're talking size, probably you're talking like 20 or less people, probably, right?
No, more than that.
More than that?
People would come out of the woodwork. We were fortunate enough to have the Matrix Coffee House in Chehalis, Washington at the time, which was ran by the most beautiful hippie couple in the world.
It's true.
Rick and Holly, shout out, and Moon, running sound. And they would just do Thursday night open mic, and it could be anything. You could bring your band, or you could bring your guitar, and kids would come out of the woodwork to just, you could go in, listen to music, converse, play board games. You could even just stand on the sidewalk and smoke cigarettes for 6 hours straight and talk to people and meet people. And that's something that you don't take for granted.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And that's fascinating because I probably do take it for granted in some ways as someone who's played Matrix and Quesadilla Factory, as I like to call it, instead of Quesadilla Factory. But, and you feel like, oh, okay, well, like these kids are like into punk, but then these kids hanging out also just need something to do.
Right.
And so when does like the need something to do start morphing into past just playing in bands, and like when does it become serious rather than just need something to do? How does that work? And maybe the same with bikes.
Well, for like music, it's when you start playing shows out of town, you get any kind of attention. You know, it evolved past MySpace at some point for some bands. And then you feel like you got a head on your shoulders, and you feel like you're a little too big for the small town scene. Mm-hmm. For a lot of people, it definitely evolved quickly past that, and power to them. I was fortunate enough to do quite a few shows out of town, and I was fortunate enough to go on a couple of small tours, but I tried to kind of keep perspective the whole time, at least a little bit.
Yeah. So you're playing in music, and you still are. People should know that. Maybe talk about your band in a second, but you're playing music. You're kind of starting to get into motorcycles, and the camera's not going to show it, but what is there, 14, 15, like, or more bikes in here? Like it went beyond just like dabbling. So when did obsession kind of kick in, and how do you kind of manage the two obsessions? Because anyone who's played music and is in active bands knows that you have to stay obsessed to kind of keep the ball rolling in it.
I feel like if my attention gets grabbed onto something, I kind of take it as far as it'll go. And that comes with like the DIY thing, like figure it out by all means necessary, figure it out. That's like recording your own band, setting up your own tours, booking your own shows, building your own motorcycle, figuring out how the engine works, taking it apart and putting it back together. It's all necessity. It's all born from necessity. And I mean, if I can kind of loop back like on it, I feel like the turning point for me with music and motorcycles was being in the band with my friend Ian, who was building bikes, and he led me down good paths, I think, because his inspiration was like Indian Larry in like the time of like the 2005 bike.
Yeah.
If you have like the 2005 bike in your head, he was into like Indian Larry, old stuff, you know, panheads when it was all Evos.
Yeah.
And the real turning point was we got to play a Dice magazine release party in Portland. And at that point, you know, motorcycles are just street bikes or Harleys. And not even like choppers, really. Especially coming from a small town, there'd be one or two that would roll through the shop. That's it. But we played that Dice magazine release in Portland at, I don't even remember, Plan B Bar.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was like a lightning bolt went off. Seeing all the bikes, seeing all the people, seeing what could be done.
So what were you riding at that point?
Nothing.
So that was like, okay, I got to get a bike.
It was kind of it was like, I always wanted a hot rod or a bike, but I lived in a trailer on the edge of town with friends. It was a party house. I had a barn with a arena sand floor. Just not the best conditions, but my roommate and other bandmate, Nick, had a 81 Honda CB650 that he pulled out. He was riding like a crotch rocket at the time, but he had this one kind of kicking around, and that was it. I was like, I need that.
So was that tweaker stock, or was it stock, or was it
Which bike?
no, yeah.
Oh, it was bone stock.
Yeah.
Bone stock, but needed a top end. Carburetors were pulled off. So it was like already right there. That's the steep learning curve.
So what was Ian in Centralia?
Yeah.
Besides him, what was like your kind of learning path? Was it like books, YouTube, just fucking up and making mistakes and learning from the mistakes, or
Fucking up. Trial by fire. And it gets real expensive, and it feels daunting, but you can do it. And this was like pre-internet. Like I say pre-internet, but it's like on the cusp. There was internet to be had, but not at the house that we lived at.
yeah, and that's probably another rural reality is people view the internet as like mid 90s on, right? But in rural Washington, there's still pockets here that the only way to get internet is Starlink or something like that.
Right.
So,
And that was like beyond our comprehension at the time. And cell phones were still touchpads. You know, there was nothing. So
yeah.
it was, you start asking people. And that's where it's like, I had worked on my own and tried to figure it out on my own a lot, but then you have to start asking people, like being, you know, walking into shops, picking people's brains, and then figuring it out.
So tell me about the transition from that stock bike to your first chopper. What was that like for you? And how long had you been doing bikes before that kind of started to happen? Because you talked about necessity in some ways and affordability, but how did that kind of come about?
I feel like it kind of goes hand in hand, it's probably a story that's already been told many times, but it's like that was my first street bike, and that one went through all the evolutions. You know, it was a stock bike, and then it was like, okay, I need to start taking some parts off because this is dorky. And then it was like a cafe bike, and then it was a bobber, and then I kind of felt like it was getting closer to a chopper, but it was still just struts and long front end, which, you know,
Yeah.
is the thing. And then it took many, many years after that to feel like I was at the point where it's like I feel safe enough to make something.
So many years, you're talking like 10 or?
At least, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I went through a long period of time where I was just kind of riding stock bikes, putting them back together, trying to save them, and then kind of going through the motions on that. And then finally, choppers finally hit hard.
So you kind of went hard into choppers. When did you start getting friends being like, hey, can you work on my bike? Or was it like pretty much right away?
I had always tried to help everybody out who I could. So, I mean, it's kind of like the division of you do what you can to help your friends, and then at a certain point you're like, okay, I think I'm confident enough I can start doing this as like a thing, like putting myself out there. And that wasn't even until like last year, and that was like after meeting some very, very kind and knowledgeable people.
Yeah. But so that's kind of the genesis of Pocket Lint Motorwerks, right? But you've had that name for a while before last year.
Oh, yeah. And that all came about when I was like 13 years old, when we recorded our first punk band's demo. And we're like, hey, let's put a record company name on the back of this CD that we're photocopying the sleeve for. And it was Pocket Lint Records. So it's like, because it's just like one of those things. It's like, we're just dirt poor. We're trying to figure this out. And it's fun, you know. It's all about fun.
Yeah, I think my first label was Let Rock, ROQ, and like kind of like K Rock from LA, the radio station. And we did a 7-inch even with that record label name. But then pretty quickly I was like, that's probably a lame name. But you held on to it, so yeah. There's a sense of like nostalgia or sentimentality to that, to holding on to something that long.
Yeah, and then you kind of like it's kind of like how my Instagram name is Honda Wizard, and it wasn't really any kind of thought. It just wasn't taken. So it's like you take the email and you take the Bandcamp, you take all the online handles as quick as you can, and make sure those accounts stay in good standing so it doesn't get taken away.
Yeah, totally. I think Susan and I, who's the publisher of the Ton, for those listening, we have like a running list of maybe like 70 band names, just in case you need one.
Yeah, you never know.
As people do. And so whenever someone's starting in a band and they're like, I need a band name, we'll be like, here.
But you got to be careful with that. You start like talking to your friends about, oh man, I want to start a band called such and such, and it's going to be like this. and that gets stolen really quick if it's a really good idea.
Yeah. I mean, I think this list is like to get stolen because some of the names we would love to see out there just because some are really cool and others just border on absolute hilarious to us. So, and we do it by like genre too. So like this would be a really good band name for this genre. Right. So yeah, if someone steals it, that'd be wonderful. Yeah, there's some real dumb ones and some real great ones. And actually, that's how Dark Palms got the name, was off that list.
Nice.
Which is probably the only time I've pulled a name off the list and used it. Right. So that's difficult. I think naming anything's difficult, but you have the wonderful story of sticking with the same name since you were a teenager.
I try, yeah. I thought it was funny and a good name, and so when I wanted a company, that's what I named it.
So how long have you been sitting on the band name Mystery 3 before starting it?
Misery 3.
Or Misery 3, sorry.
That one just came out like serendipitous because the perfect amount of people in a band is 3. If you can sing and play guitar, good. Don't get a lead singer. Don't ever do 4. Definitely don't do 5. And if it goes beyond that, you might as well be Slipknot or something.
I couldn't disagree more as someone who's always preferred Power Trio.
And that's one of those names that I'll throw out and it'll probably get stolen, but at a certain point I wanted to start making stickers or patches or something. Not like patches, but patches that said Miserable 4, but in Japanese, and then kind of like the Akira movie logo, because I wanted all my friends who rode Honda 4s to have that.
Oh yeah.
So I just always liked it. It was like Misery 4. It sounds like an old like Western movie or something.
Yeah, totally.
And so Misery 3 came out of that.
Oh, okay. So you shaved a member off essentially.
Right. Exactly. Can't afford it, so it'd be 3.
This is a tangent, and maybe it's a funny one, but there was a point when me and my friends wanted to do a garage band. There was only 4 of us, but we really liked the name Gary Gygax 5. And my friend, I think it was Ben Harst at the time, was like, why don't you guys just go up and do a set and you could roll a dice and like the gimmick would be someone else would come on stage and sing for one song if you make the saving throw or whatever it is. Like super nerdy. This was probably 1996 or 7,
Oh yeah.
So I do kind of appreciate band names with numbers, but I also appreciate when the number has nothing to do with the actual number of members, apparently.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I think Primate 5 might have had a gimmick kind of like that at one point too, which was a garage band where they all dressed up like apes. And
aside from the numerology, I always just wanted to be in the band, because the is so cool. Like it stands out. It's like very garage. Or even like the neo kind of rock and roll of the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody saw like the bands. And this is like, I think it's my first the band.
Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah, I mean, I've personally been in a bunch, but the reminds me of my favorite is the with 2 E's.
Right.
Because there was this weird thread of bands kind of doing that in the late 90s, early 2000s, kind of right before the bands, right? Yeah. Like they were like the precursors to that.
The only one I can think of is the OCs or
yeah, and I mean that generation comes from the same thing, right? Because the Couch Whips and everything, all those garage bands from the late 90s into the 2000s kind of had that.
I'm like, out of the loop. I don't know what it really means. I played at a place in San Francisco called The Parkside, and it had 2 E's, and that kind of threw me through a loop.
Oh yeah, and it's closing this month right now, which is really sad. Parkside. Yeah, and a lot. I mean, I feel bad for a lot of people in San Francisco because you're losing that. Bottom of the Hill is closing down, but someone might take it over. All the old San Francisco places to play if you're a punk band or garage band are kind of going away.
Fortunate to have experienced one small piece of it at least. Very cool. That was a very fun show too. That was like mixing all sorts of genres, and it was a benefit for the Border Town skate park that was in between Oakland and Berkeley, I think. under an overpass at a time. And it was like a benefit. It was like Thrasher magazine was kind of putting it on. Jake Phelps was there. It was pretty cool.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a amazing history right there.
That's one of those common threads there, because we stayed at a place called the Ramp House in Oakland. And that was kind of like the anti-hero house.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the guys that was living there was Ken Nagahara.
Oh, wow.
So I met Ken Nagahara back in 2009 or 2010. And he was like so cool, because we were into film photography and he was doing film photography. When everybody was switching to digital, he was doing film photography, and he was making these prints to make like a haphazard, almost zine style calendar to sell at the show as a benefit for it. It was so cool.
Do you still have it?
God, I don't know. Maybe in a box somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where your memory is always better than having to go and sort through your shit to find the actual artifact sometimes.
And if it's gone, it's fine. I remember it, and that's all that matters, I guess.
So, I mean, I know when we put you on the cover of the magazine, you were kind of shocked.
Yeah.
And I think people watching or listening to this will get that you're kind of a pretty modest person as far as taking praise or everything.
I try.
But I mean, to be quite frank, in this neck of the woods, you're the dude for Honda choppers. Do you think that you see that kind of expanding because of the awareness people are having? Are you getting more work because people recognize the name? Or like, how is this all kind of coming about in the last year treating you?
Oh, it's great. I love working on other people's machines. Like, that is, I feel absolutely humbled by it that somebody even contacts me to have any kind of work done. I absolutely love it. Shout out Jimmy at Revmo, seriously, for all the input he's given me and all the inspiration. And it's all been a whirlwind anyways, because honestly, like, before this, I went through a very long period of just isolation. Like, you know, when you're going through life and you're going through the motions, you've had all these exciting things happen to you, and then you kind of like start questioning everything. You question, like, do I really want to be a punk rocker? Do I just want to be a normal person? Do I want to fade into obscurity or something? And honestly, it was all happenstance, because I traded some things for a chopper frame and put together a real, like, eye-catching chopper for the first time. I had it in town, and randomly in my small town, I met Dallas.
That's Dallas Moon for people who might know him.
He's even more like, I don't know, obscure than I am. He kind of stays out of the light most times, and he'd probably hate that I'm even talking about it, but like, honestly, that was like life-changing, because like, you know, like, with the internet and things and subculture and how accessible it can be, it's like, there are people out there in big cities that are into the same stuff as you. And then all of a sudden, it's like somebody shows up out of nowhere and starts looking at your bike, which, I mean, happens all the time. But usually it's like, oh, yeah, I used to have one of these. Or,
yeah.
oh, I'm into choppers. But it's like, not really.
And the town you're talking about, I'm not going to name the town for Dallas's reason, but you're talking about a town that's 4 blocks by 2 blocks.
Right.
Like right. Super small, so people understand.
Right. And then the town that I'm technically from right now is like one street.
Yeah. And there's no stoplight in his town that I could think of. Is there one?
Nope.
No, yeah, there's one right before it.
Through and through.
Through and through, yeah.
I think they took the light out and they put a roundabout.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, you just keep on going now. Yeah. So you meet Dallas.
Right.
And then start kind of riding with him periodically.
Right.
Was the 101 trip when you met a lot of other people, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the first time I met Jimmy. But, I mean, it's like one of those things. I had played with Jimmy before, I believe, in a small bar in my town.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Probably.
I can't remember, or I was there. I've seen Jimmy blow the sax at least once before I actually met him. And Audrey, shout out Audrey. I've seen her around many years.
Yeah, and
been to shows that she's booked.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, they're kind of ubiquitous Olympia people. I mean, Olympia has a lot of people like that, but
Yeah.
so that's actually fascinating. Is that like you kind of came out of isolation, and I've seen people do that, like who were really like in bands and really gung ho punk, and then they hit that like not midlife, but like that. Oh, I need a real job, and start actually living life like a normal person. And I'm normal in quotes for those who don't watch this on video. But like your period of that was like multiple years though, right?
Right. Yeah, like close to a decade.
So how did it feel to kind of come out of that? And because now I know the timetable pretty much because of when the 101 ride was, and then start a band again with old friends.
Right.
So now you're killing it with bikes. I mean, there's like 5 Honda choppers and 10 other Hondas in here. You're killing it with bikes. You're playing in bands again. You're booking tons of shows. Like, do you feel that you're balancing like how you wanted to feel then, or do you feel like you're going back to what you should have stayed at, or like how do you process that now?
Nah, I don't look back. It's all about going forward. It's all about forward momentum, progress, and PMA. Honestly, it's like you learn from things that you've done in the past, and I have, at least in my own mind, I have a checkered past. I've done things to myself that weren't smart. I've done things to other people that was mean, or stuff like that. I don't need to get into that, and that's part of why I was isolated for so long. So now it's like, and that's what I feel is like a good thing, having like a punk rock mindset, is that like one of the cornerstones is radical self-reinvention. And it's always been okay to just radically self-reinvent yourself and just say, hey, I'm into this right now, or I'm really interested in such and such.
Anything is possible if you put your mind to it. And then also meeting other people, like-minded people that are maybe more of an expert in the field that you're interested in. And then having the audacity to pester them until they pass knowledge along to you.
That's really punk rock. I mean, because I lived in a punk rock hub, right? Like I moved to Olympia in 1988, and when I was in middle school, I was what they called a downtown kid, right? Like, so downtown kid in Olympia at the time, and this is probably 1990, 91, was a kid whose parents didn't give a shit. And my parents didn't give a shit, but like that was their philosophy of parenting, is like, as long as the cops don't come, do whatever you want, be home by like 8:00 at night, right?
R.I.P. to that.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore.
So we would hang out at the Sylvester Park and then go. There was like a place called Mario's, which from Centralia's version or Shahilis's version. And so Mario's, for people who don't know, is like, if you ever watched Dazed and Confused, they have the Emporium, and it's a teenage pool hall. And Mario's was a teenage pool hall. You could buy cigarettes by the single. They didn't really care if you were 18 or not.
Oh, yeah.
It caused a lot of controversy. So I discovered punk rock, get really into it. And you're right. Like, you find the older people, you latch on to them, and you just beg them for knowledge. And this is all pre-internet. So we're talking like pre-internet. And I think it's still like that in a lot of ways, as far as like the subtleties. You could find all the songs, you could find all the fashion, all that's on the internet, but kind of the cultural subtleties you can't really get online in a really kind of direct learning way.
I don't know if it's like, I can't speak to anything else being normal or whatever you want to call it, but I feel like in punk rock, it's like there's no division between older generations and younger either, where older generations didn't have any problem with kids hanging around.
Yeah, and maybe that's different in different scenes, but in the Northwest, it definitely was like, yeah, sure, go if you somehow your parents are letting you go to a concert, like, and you're getting yourself home, or some parents are lucky, the kids are lucky their parents will pick them up, but like,
good luck.
That wasn't mine. I was walking up the hill until eventually people started giving me a ride to my parents' house.
Yeah.
Like, they had no problems. And so It's kind of like maturing with it, right?
Yeah.
And along the way, I don't know if it was the same for you, but for me, maybe 8th grade, for me, I discovered Bathrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And not just the music, which is like hyper aggressive, super good. Everyone knows what it sounds like, probably, who listens to this. I discovered them musically through the SST records and not like the Roar tape or anything cool like that. I mean, I think all their stuff's cool, actually. But then, like, kind of the knowledge center of positive mental attitude comes about. And so,
Right.
which for me has been like the defining philosophy of my life, without question. And this is probably going to be in episode 14 of this podcast, and it's probably the 14th time it's been mentioned on this podcast. But you had mentioned positive mental attitude earlier on, and I just kind of wonder what that means to you and how it guides you. And also, even when you're struggling, when, like, for me, like when I'm struggling, you know, it's hard to kind of keep the PMA, but you kind of have to go inward and think through it. Like, how do you kind of keep the positive mental attitude? And then how does motorcycles tie into that? Because for me, they're so linked.
Yeah, it's the ultimate escape. It's like when you got your first skateboard when you were a kid. It's like freedom. It's like, you know, your parents told you you could be home, you should be home at this time, but man, you had that freedom machine underneath you. It's like, I think I'm going to do my own thing for a while. That kind of thing. You know, it's just like, it's so easy to just completely unwind and forget about everything, because especially when you're in like a stressful, what should be a stressful environment. It's like maybe 100 degrees outside. There's no gas stations. There's, you know, no cell phone service, and something breaks and you gotta fix it. So it's like, you gotta stay in the zone. Otherwise you're gonna crack. And that's how it is in life. It's the exact same thing. There's breakdowns in life. You gotta work on yourself. And you gotta do it enough times to where when the punches roll, you're able to take them and transfer them into something else. My big standout was the same. It was in middle school, and it was hearing Minor Threat. And you know, you think you're like straight edge or whatever when you're a kid, but that's just because you haven't been exposed to fun libation. Yeah. But even then, even when you're still out partying with your friends, those songs, holy crap, man. I wish that half my friends actually listened to the lyrics and still held strong with that today. Being like, I say it all the time, out of step. We're out of step. Like, we're out of step with the world. And that's just the way it is.
And you're kind of like me. I mean, Minor Threat, obviously, big part of my life. I was straight edge forever, and I still don't really, I'm not known as a party person in any sense ever. So, and I don't drink much. If, you know, like, I don't say I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink. Right. And you're kind of similar. Like, how did that come about? Was it because of just seeing what's going on in your towns, or, I mean,
now or when I was now I was a partier. I had too much.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I had to nip it in the bud. And COVID hit, you know, and everything got worse. And it's like one of those things. And that's where the isolation really started to come to a head.
Yeah.
And then once I decided to stop doing that, everything started making way more sense in life. Everything, I hate to say it, but it's like everything gets easier if you're able to trim something out of your life. If you have a habit of anything, whether it's working on things too much, whether it's indulging in things too much or going out or whatever, if you're able to harness that habit or get rid of it, everything in life gets easier. Yeah, that's like PMA to the core.
Yeah, totally. Do you feel like punk rock PMA, Minor Threat, gave you a lot of clarity early, and then things got fuzzy, and then now you have the clarity again, and you're kind of going back to the philosophy that kind of drove you in that way?
I mean, figuratively and literally. I mean, we all experiment with things, and I definitely went down the, the mind expanding one with like stoner metal and stuff like that. I was in a metal band for a while. Shout out Wolf Skull, and shout out to Beck Built Fab, who worked on my friend Kevin's chopper. Did some fabrication on that. That was like the jumping off point for this whole chopper thing, but I digress.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people kind of go through phases and like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And I certainly went through the stoner metal phase, ironically, before I ever really smoked pot in my
right.
adult life. Like, I'm the weird person who never smoked pot until I was in my 40s.
Yeah. I mean, now it's like acceptable too, so it's like a whole different thing. But when there was stigma attached to things, it was different. Things felt different, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to motorcycles, because I think that there's so many tangents that we go on about music and everything, but I want people to kind of think through the parallels of, like, in quotes, chopper and punk rock, right? Because, punk rock is a pure expression of self while working with a collective, because punk rock kind of in some ways requires a scene.
Yeah, we're not doing black metal. There's got to be people.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it's also some of the most raw kind of emotional expressions.
Yeah.
And my theory is that choppers are the same.
Right.
So if you kind of go down that road, what are the pitfalls of choppers? Like, in the same way that the pitfalls of punk rock could be too much exposure, kind of diluting messages because of that, trying to please other people. Is there a parallel there?
I don't know. It feels like you're trying to get one out of me where it's like the scene thing.
Maybe.
Scene to be seen in the scene, you know?
Yeah.
Like, some people do it for fashion or to be seen or to get in, especially when you're in like what should be a stressful environment. It's like maybe 100 degrees outside. There's no gas stations. There's, no cell phone service, and something breaks and you gotta fix it. So it's like, you gotta stay in the zone. Otherwise you're gonna crack. And that's how it is in life. It's the exact same thing. There's breakdowns in life. You gotta work on yourself. And you gotta do it enough times to where when the punches roll, you're able to take them and transfer them into something else. My big standout was the same. It was in middle school, and it was hearing Minor Threat. And you think you're like straight edge or whatever when you're a kid, but that's just because you haven't been exposed to fun libation.
Yeah.
But even then, even when you're still out partying with your friends, those songs, holy crap, man. I wish that half my friends actually listened to the lyrics and still held strong with that today. Being like, I say it all the time, out of step. We're out of step. We're out of step with the world. And that's just the way it is.
And you're kind of like me. I mean, Minor Threat, obviously, big part of my life. I was straight edge forever, and I still I'm not known as a party person in any sense ever. So, and I don't drink much. I don't say I don't drink anymore, but I don't drink.
Right.
And you're kind of similar. Like, how did that come about? Was it because of just seeing what's going on in your towns, or, I mean,
now or when I was now I was a partier. I had too much.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So I had to nip it in the bud. And COVID hit, and everything got worse. And it's like one of those things. And that's where the isolation really started to come to a head.
Yeah.
And then once I decided to stop doing that, everything started making way more sense in life. Everything, I hate to say it, but it's like everything gets easier if you're able to trim something out with your life. If you have a habit of anything, whether it's working on things too much, whether it's indulging in things too much or going out or whatever, if you're able to harness that habit or get rid of it, everything in life gets easier. Yeah, that's like PMA to the core.
Yeah, totally. Do you feel like punk rock, PMA, Minor Threat gave you a lot of clarity early, and then things got fuzzy and then now you have the clarity again, and you're kind of going back to the philosophy that kind of drove you in that
I
way?
mean,
Or?
figuratively and literally. I mean, we all experiment with things, and I definitely went down the, you know, the mind expanding one with like stoner metal and stuff like that. I was in a metal band for a while. Shout out Wolf Soul, and shout out to Beck Built Fab, who worked on my friend Kevin's chopper. Did some fabrication on that. That was like the jumping off point for this whole chopper thing, but I digress.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. I think a lot of people kind of go through phases and like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And I certainly went through the stoner metal phase, ironically, before I ever really smoked pot in my
right.
adult life. Like, I'm the weird person who never smoked pot until I was in my 40s.
Oh yeah. I mean, now it's like acceptable too, so it's like a whole different thing. But when there was stigma attached to things, it was different. Things felt different, I guess.
Yeah. Well, let's go back to motorcycles, because I think that there's so many tangents that we go on about music and everything, but I want people to kind of think through the parallels of, like, in quotes, chopper and punk rock, right? Because, you know, punk rock is a pure expression of self while working with a collective, because punk rock kind of in some ways requires a scene.
Yeah, we're not doing black metal. There's got to be people.
Yeah. And then at the same time, it's also some of the most raw kind of emotional expressions.
Yeah.
And my theory is that choppers are the same.
Right.
So if you kind of go down that road, what are the pitfalls of choppers? Like, in the same way that the pitfalls of punk rock could be too much exposure, kind of diluting messages because of that, trying to please other people. Is there a parallel there?
I don't know. It feels like you're trying to get one out of me where it's like the scene thing.
Oh, maybe.
Scene to be seen in the scene, you know?
Yeah.
Like, some people do it for fashion or to be seen or to get an award. No discrediting at all. I don't consider myself a bike builder by any means. Like, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole too, where it's like, if you're putting together a bike and you aim to get an award, you probably deserve it because you put a lot of work into it. And I don't discount that at all. I just don't consider myself a bike builder per se. You know, that's a whole nother thing. That's something that you work hard for, and you attain through that hard work.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could be a pitfall. Like, if you're just doing it to maybe get an award or to go to shows and that's about it. But I just like riding. It's the experience of it. It's like, you can be a bystander in punk rock and you can go to shows. You're still very heavily involved in it, obviously, because you're participating. But when you're really participating and making your own music, it's that feeling, and it's the same feeling of, I built this machine and I don't know how this is gonna go, but you just go hard in the paint and you gotta shake it down. Mm-hmm. Same thing with a brand new song. You get up on stage, you gotta shake your nerves, and that's it. You gotta put it out there.
What's more nerve-wracking, playing a song for the first time or riding a bike and having people see it, or like with other people for the first time?
Playing a song.
Really?
100%. Have always been I've always been able to jump up on stage and sing or like do crazy things, and maybe there's like evidence of that out there somewhere, I don't know. That's neither here nor there. But like public speaking and things like that, it's a whole nother ballgame.
Yeah,
It's totally different.
So is your like, I'm not going to say fear, but is your like anxiety the moment right before you start playing it and it kind of goes away once you're in it?
Yeah, for sure.
Is it the same?
Away.
Is it the same as riding a bike? Like you put it all together, it starts, but you're still anxious until you kind of get down the road. Is it, and then you kind of flow away from it?
Same. I mean, the first time that I ever rode my first street bike was like that. I felt like every muscle in my body was completely tense. It felt like I was on ice, even though it was in complete control on a stock bike. It was nerve-wracking, and it's kind of close to the same now, but you have a flow. It's like
when you start riding something that's so out of whack and sketchy, you kind of get a feeling for it. You know, with experience, it's like you know when something's wrong.
Yeah.
And when something doesn't feel right.
And similarly, like when you're on stage and you hear
Oh god.
your amp making a little sound, you're like, oh shit.
Nah, I don't even care about that. It's like when the crowd doesn't make any sound. Or
Oh yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It's like, oh, that's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah. No, that is that's awful. Mine is when you know that mid song the amp's gonna blow on you. Because that's
Yeah,
happened
yeah.
a couple times.
Yeah, you get one power tube down. It's like, oh boy, I can crank this to 10, and it's not gonna do
Anything. Yeah. I get like both with bikes and like riding a new bike for the first time and playing live, I get like this amazing anxiety, like just tremendous anxiety until I'm like doing it, and then it all goes away. And to me, the like anxiety is part of the journey, oddly, because it's like conquering your fear, right? Like, I think people, for me, think that I'm an extrovert, but I'm actually the complete opposite. So all of this is anxiety, like up until it, and then going for it.
Yeah,
And you're kind of a quieter guy in some ways. Sometimes.
Until I get too comfortable with somebody.
But
My own downfalls that I constantly dog myself for, but shouldn't. I mean,
yeah.
just be yourself, you know.
Do you think that the music and bikes have kind of helped override some of those like
100%.
anxieties and
100%.
insecurities?
I grew up on a street outside of a small town with one person 6 houses away that was my age, and that was it.
Oh wow.
That's how small it was. It's not the smallest that could have been, but still one person that I could talk to and be friends with and have class with throughout the years. So it's like, once I found something where it's like, I felt like I could be myself and jump, like, it just was like, there's no going back. 100% there's no going back.
Hindsight is a real bitch sometimes, right? Like, so do you look back at your isolation years as positive to make you who you are now, or do you look back at it as like, I could have been in a better place if I kind of started getting out of isolation earlier?
No, I can't take it back. And I think it was also necessary. I think that it's just part of who anybody is. You go through changes in life and you go through periods where I think it's necessary to take a look back at what you are, who you are, and figure out who you want to be.
Maybe that's a good point to talk about, like, what your goals are now. Are you goal oriented, or are you just kind of going for whatever's there? Like, what's the future look for you, and how do you kind of envision that?
I've always been goal oriented, but just to learn more. Obviously, just you have to soak up as much as you can. Honestly, like, that's the only real goal in my mind. I mean, I'm like anti-project. I don't like having projects. I like finishing things. So it's like, that's one of those maybe detriments to me and my personality.
So you think, like, you know, you have a bike on the lift, right?
Yeah.
That's not a project. You're getting that to completion,
Right.
and you're not going to put it away until it's done.
Right.
So you're kind of a completist in that regard.
Yeah. I come from like a stock of, like, my dad's a baby boomer, and he was raised by somebody who went through the Depression. So it's like instilled in him to like never get rid of things. But then
Yeah,
also
same.
and I'm sure a lot of people can relate, but like, it's like instilled, like, don't throw anything away. But also you're never actually working on it either. It's just sitting around. So like, I saw that and it's like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I gotta finish what I have, because we don't have much time. You know, like, if you think about it, we don't have much time
No.
to actually enjoy the things that we have until we can't move anymore.
Yeah, I have projects, but I have plans to finish them pretty definitively when I have them.
Right.
But I'm also a collector of things. And so my big thing, and I don't know if you're like this, is like, where's all this go when I'm done, right? Like, do I burden cousins or whatever, or something like that?
Right.
where does it all kind of go? Like,
That's
and so I worry about accumulating crap,
Yeah.
right? Because of that.
That's what I don't want. Like, it kind of trips people out when I say I have one electric guitar.
Oh yeah, that is kind of
I
yeah.
have one guitar. Like, I'm a user of things, is what I see. Like, everything in life is like a tool or a vehicle. Like, the machines that you have surrounding you need to be used and taken care of to an extent. Like, you can abuse them, but like, if you can fix them yourself, like, that's one of those necessity things. It's like, you learn how to do it. And so then you learn to be a user of what you have.
So does that mean that you're more in tune with the utility of the object, whether it's motorcycle music, or is it a combination of utility and aesthetics? Like, because it sounds like you really rely on utility,
Yeah.
but then like you have a defined style of stuff you like that's been informed by your life. Like, how does that balance kind of work for you?
I mean, there's a harmony in it. It's like, you get like, I don't use Facebook for good reason too. It's like one of those things. It's not like I'm very set in my ways, but like, I don't like Facebook, and I never did. I had one until like 2012, and then deleted it. And now people like text me stuff like, "Hey, you should check this thing out," or "Oh, I heard this good deal on this square body pickup." And it's like, I already have an old Chevy.
Yeah.
I don't need another one. Like, it's that thing. Like,
So you're like the rare bike guy who's not on Marketplace all day.
no, I'm not. I still do everything word of mouth, and that's how my business is too. Like,
Yeah.
I have an Instagram, and I have a YouTube that I haven't uploaded anything to yet, and maybe I will, and maybe I'll do like some bike walk arounds.
That's a strange noise.
I have no idea what that is. 1 second. Oh, it's just the.
Oh, it's okay. It's
Some moisture.
water, moisture in the wood.
Yeah, that was.
That was kind of weird.
It was like an air compressor about ready to blow up.
Yeah.
Either way. Yeah.
So, like when I sent you a bike on Marketplace, was it a pain in the ass to even look at, or?
No, not at all. And there was like 3 other people that sent me the same one.
I'm sure.
It's just one of those things. Like, I like I said, I'm not set in my ways, but I like doing things word of mouth. That's how all this kind of started. And I went over that in like the article in the magazine, where it's like, you ride something old around town, eventually people are going to come up to you and say, "Hey, there's something rotting in my backyard.
Yeah.
Do you want it? Come get it." And then I got an old van, and it's like that way hand in hand. Now I can scoop them up and go grab these things and try altruistically and usually in a failing way to save whatever I could.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's too far gone.
You have vans and cars and trucks
Yes.
and motorcycles.
Yes.
What's your favorite vehicle of all the ones you have right now? What one like just gets you in the heart the most?
My truck.
Your truck?
My 66 C10.
And why is that?
My grandpa bought it brand new in Centralia, my hometown,
Wow.
from a local dealership. And then there was a flood in 1996,
Oh, I remember it.
and my dad was driving it at the time, and he parked it up on a hill at an in-law's place, and it sat until 2020.
Oh, wow.
And then I pulled it out, and I drive it as much as I
I
can.
remember that flood. I remember it closing the freeway.
Yeah.
And then I remember working with Federal Emergency Management Agency
Mhm.
and going out and putting little stick flags at the edge of where everywhere flooded so people could see where the water would be so they can
Yeah.
build dikes and everything.
Devastating flood for the area. Wouldn't be the last.
No, it wasn't the
The
last.
We live in a valley.
Yeah. But it's been less frequent after the one in the 2000s. I feel like they did some work.
06.
Oh, it was the...
06 was bad. That closed the freeway too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, that's small town life, right?
Yeah.
You deal with floods, you deal with whatever, but you got your truck up on a hill and it sat.
That truck. Yeah. That's my favorite vehicle. It's like, it transforms me. My dad had a 63 Chevy that sat in the yard, and I remember riding in it
And then I was like, Dad, I want this truck so bad. And he was like, no, you want your grandpa's. It's a better truck. But like the day never came. Like tale as old as time.
Yeah.
My dad, smartest guy I know. Not dogging him at all, but it's like you got to get to it at some point. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And I had dreams, literal dreams of sitting in that truck and driving it. And I've never even driven anything old before myself. Maybe I drove it in the cow pasture once when I was a kid.
Mm.
But the 63 came and went, and that never happened. And then that 66 just was sitting there, and eventually grabbed it, pulled it out, put it on the road. And it transforms me like back in time almost.
Do you ever have dreams about floods because of it or anything like that?
No,
Oh.
nothing weird like that. I'm pretty weird with dreams. My wife asked me like if I had dreams or anything, and I don't even remember.
You don't remember them?
No, it's just sometimes I do, but then as a day passes, it's gone.
My dad moved up here in 1982, and the only thing I knew about Washington when I was young was Mount St. Helens erupting. And so anytime I would come up before visiting, I'd have a dream about Mount St. Helens erupting, lava being everywhere.
Oh yeah, it was fresh too, 1980. Yeah.
And then my maybe second time here was in 84, and I remember we went, and at the time you could go to the very top of the Capitol building in Olympia. They don't let you do that anymore.
Right, and then there was that earthquake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so on the top, you could see Mount St. Helens, and Mount St. Helens at the time in 84 was smoking again.
Yeah.
And so, like, until I moved here in 88, every time I came up to Washington the night before, I'd have this lava dream every single time.
I mean,
and it's like one of the few childhood dreams I ever remember is this stupid lava dream.
I remember that great Rowdy Roddy Piper promo about him living up in the Great Northwest with an active volcano in his backyard and how that hardens you,
Yeah. I mean, we could go into a whole wrestling tangent. As anyone who knows me knows that I'm a fanatic about it and have been my whole life. So there's something about the outdoors in Washington that's really specific. And I don't know, as I'm not native here, if I can articulate it well enough. But I can say that there's a through line with outdoorsy people in Washington and motorcycle people in that you're having to deal with the elements in a different way than Southern California or somewhere like that. And it takes a lot of effort to want to do things at certain times of the year.
Oh yeah.
And so because of that, there's a weird grit to it that people don't quite understand. And I'm sure people in the Midwest get it because of the snow and everything like that. But we're a region that can go from high peak to ocean in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at the most. There's a lot of riding to do. Like, what keeps you kind of grounded in the Northwest as a native and kind of keeps you just excited about being in the Northwest?
I don't know. At a certain point in my life, I kind of waxed poetic about it, and it like weeds out the BS. It really, it's like moderate enough, but also like the weather does get to you. Like, it really does, and it weeds people out.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
And it's not even that extreme. Like, it's not like it's like a hard freeze or, like East Coast stuff, like just mountains of snow on the sides of the road.
Very little thunder, stuff like that.
It's not even like it's that bad, but it's like, it is too.
Yeah.
Then like, you're not an outdoorsy person, but you bring it inside with you. Like, your life, like 9 months out of the year is a mess. There's just mud and fern needles everywhere. Like, you have to live with it. Everything's wet. It's like, you really do have to just learn to live with it. I couldn't do just like sun all the time.
Yeah.
I gotta have seasons, but even up here, it kind of weighs on you.
Yeah. People often ask, like, what is riding like year round? And you ride a lot of the year, almost year round.
Usually February to November.
Yeah. And I'm whenever it's not 38 and lower and when it's raining. Because like that 32 to 38 when it's raining it's hard. It's like having
It's rough.
needles and bullets shot at your hands and face consistently.
Yeah, I learned a good tip from Dallas, and I finally used it last year. Where if you're starting a trip and it's going to be an absolute washout on the first few days, don't wear your gloves.
Oh,
You gotta really stick it out, and it hurts.
yeah.
But having wet gloves for the rest of your trip sucks.
Yeah.
And if you try and lay them on the engine, they're going to get rock hard.
Yeah.
Because I only wear single
Super.
layer leather. That's it.
Do you get yours from Churchill?
I have in the past. Yeah.
Okay. So for those who are listening or watching, Centralia, Washington is the home of Churchill Leather, who make roping gloves, logging gloves, and motorcycle riding gloves.
Very nice. Yeah.
They're
Good
considered some of the finest gloves in the world.
They made motorcycle gloves for Shaquille O'Neal, custom made. It was in the local paper, and they had a cutout of his hand.
Still family owned,
Yes, family friends of mine too.
and great people as
Yes.
far as my exposure has been.
Yeah.
And if you want the tip, if anyone wants the tip, Monday through Friday, they're open till about 5. Their seconds for their gloves are $20 a piece. You have to bring cash, and you're going to save yourself $100.
Yeah, good quality leather too. That was the first seat I ever made for myself. I went in and asked for a scrap. They had one laying around.
And this is unprompted promo for them, just to let you know. They also provide a lot of leather and glove stuff for Langlet's in Portland. And I believe have done gloves for Deadbeat Customs, some other people
Very cool.
over the years.
Didn't even
And
know
then
that.
a lot of Japanese companies, they're using them to make their gloves. They still have the original glove stamps
Yeah.
from like 1920.
Yeah.
And that's how they're still cutting them.
My work gloves up on the bench, I've been using them for years. They're Churchill's, and they're the finest quality gloves you can find.
There you go. So for the same price as going to Home Depot to get your work gloves
Don't
for
do
the
it.
cool guys riding on the choppers,
Yeah.
if you're in the area and you pass by on a weekday, drop the money on Churchill.
Yep.
It's going to be a great experience.
100%. Not a paid sponsor.
Not a paid sponsor. But I think it speaks to what it's like living in a kind of more rural setting, that you have kind of evergreen, pun intended, in Washington, but you have kind of evergreen companies out there, whether it's Churchill or Langlet's in Portland, or which Portland's not rural, but it was much smaller than it is now.
Yeah.
Kind of keeping an industry alive in the same way that you see, before it got bought by Harley, Tomahawk and stuff like that in Wisconsin and everything. I don't know where I'm going with this, but my point is that people should support not only the people riding bikes and building bikes like yourself, but any kind of local industry that is keeping the things alive.
Yeah, the
Because
ancillary things.
at the end of the day, that's the most punk rock to me, is supporting a community outside the confines of like a corporate culture that just wants to make money on something being developed.
For sure. We had that when we were growing up too, like a small town print shop, printing off like flyers or CD sleeves, things like that. And then eventually they came to one of our shows. I think we kind of spooked them, but like, it was still pretty cool to do business where you are.
Well, Tyler, I think that's probably an hour. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's around there.
All right.
But thanks for stopping by. Well, letting me stop by, I should say, in the secret cabin deep in the woods
Yeah.
where the Honda Wizard dwells.
All right. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thanks for being on the cover of the new issue. And people who are listening, issue 22, you can learn more about Tyler, Pocket Lint, Honda Wizard, see the photo shoot, and, pick it up. People in America, it's thetonmag.com. There's links on our shop for Canadian buyers and Japanese buyers as well. And thanks a lot.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you for listening to Do You Even Chopper podcast, a production of The Ton Magazine. You can find us on the internet, the World Wide Web, at thetonmag.com. You can find us on Instagram at instagram.com/thetonmag and on YouTube at youtube.com/@thetonmagazine.